Hey there, how are you today? I hope you're doing okay, and even if you're not, that's totally fine. We're here to hang out and talk things through. Today, we're diving into something that a lot of people don't notice, but might deeply relate to you or someone close to you, signs of OCD that often fly under the radar. Before we go further, let's clear something up about OCD. Obsessive compulsive disorder isn't just about being neat or needing everything to be symmetrical. There's so much more beneath the surface, and oftentimes, the most exhausting symptoms are the ones that aren't visible. So in this deep dive, it's going to be a detailed one. I want to walk you through 10 signs of OCD that are commonly missed. Ready? Let's take it slow, stay relaxed, and keep an open heart. 1. Intrusive thoughts that trigger guilt. Have you ever had a random, disturbing thought pop into your head, like hurting someone you care about or something totally against your morals, and then felt horribly guilty even though you didn't act on it? This is one of the most overlooked signs of OCD. These are intrusive thoughts that show up out of nowhere and are completely out of sync with who you are. And the worst part? You keep wondering, why did I think that? Am I a bad person? In OCD, these thoughts aren't desires. They actually come from fear. Your brain is trying to overprotect you. It's like your mind is setting off false alarms over and over again. People often suffer in silence because they're too ashamed to talk about these thoughts. But here's the truth. Intrusive thoughts are not dangerous in themselves. What matters is how we respond to them, and with OCD, the response is usually fear, avoidance, and guilt. Let's move on to the second sign. What else might be going unnoticed? 2. Excessive sense of responsibility. People with OCD often feel responsible for things beyond their control. Like, if they don't double-check the stove, they fear the house will burn down, and it would be entirely their fault. Or if they don't reply to a message quickly, they worry they've deeply upset someone. This kind of responsibility isn't about being considerate. It's driven by fear. It's the brain saying, if I don't do this, something bad will happen and I'll be the one to blame. And it doesn't end there. Some people feel responsible for global events, like world peace, or worry they might have caused a car accident they didn't even witness. It's exhausting to feel like the world depends on you making every tiny move perfectly. Ever felt like this? Let's get into the third one. 3. Needing things to feel just right before moving on. Some people with OCD repeat actions, like rereading a message or redoing a prayer, because something doesn't feel right. There's this nagging feeling, and unless they do it again, they can't move on. Even if it looks perfect to the outside world, that feeling of wrongness just won't go away. It's not about logic, it's about emotion. Sometimes, the person might not even know what just right means. It's more like an inner signal that hasn't given the green light yet. It's like being stuck in a loop where your body wants to move on, but your mind keeps pulling you back. That's 3 down. Still 7 more to explore. Stick with me, okay? 4. Overthinking morality and ethics. OCD isn't only about tidiness or routines. There's also something called moral OCD, where someone constantly questions whether they were ethical, moral, or hurt someone unintentionally. Example? Seeing someone trip and wondering, did I laugh? Oh no, am I a terrible person? And that thought doesn't just pass, it can last hours, even days. This often leads to people seeking reassurance, asking friends if what they did was okay, reviewing conversations repeatedly in their heads, or confessing things that don't even require confession. It's like living under a moral microscope where even the smallest thought or action is scrutinized. Ever had a moment like that? Let's go to number 5. 5. Fear of losing control. This isn't your average anxiety. Someone with OCD might constantly fear losing control, like harming someone or saying something horrible, even when they have zero intention of doing so. Afraid to hold a knife because you might hurt someone? Avoid being near loved ones because of scary thoughts? These can be signs of OCD most people don't realize. The fear of what if becomes louder than the knowledge that you would never act on those thoughts. And sadly, this leads people to isolate themselves out of fear of causing harm, even though they never would. That one's emotionally heavy. Let's take a breath and move to the sixth sign. 6. Checking repeatedly without feeling relieved. You check the door, the stove, the lights, maybe even 5 times. But still, you're not sure. So you go back and check again. And again. This isn't just habit. In OCD, the urge to check doesn't bring peace. Even after checking, doubt creeps right back in. It's exhausting. Sometimes the checking isn't even physical, it's mental. Replaying an event in your head, trying to remember exactly what happened, just to make sure you didn't mess up. This endless cycle steals time, energy, and joy. Let's continue to the 7th sign. It's eye-opening. 7. Arranging things a certain way to ease anxiety. It's not just about liking order. It's more like, if things aren't placed just so, something bad might happen. It's not about perfection, it's about preventing imagined disasters. Like having to align books by color or size because otherwise, something terrible could occur. It might not make sense logically, but the fear feels incredibly real. And it's not always about appearance. Sometimes, it's about how things feel. A shirt doesn't feel right, so you change it. Or you walk back through a doorway because it didn't feel like you did it correctly. Getting the picture? Let's explore number 8. 8. Avoiding triggers to prevent unwanted thoughts. People with OCD often avoid things that might trigger intrusive thoughts, like avoiding places of worship because of inappropriate thoughts, or staying away from loved ones due to fear of harming them mentally or physically. This isn't about being lazy or uncaring. It's self-protection from overwhelming anxiety. Sadly, it can shrink someone's world and lead to isolation. Triggers can be anything: certain words, images, songs, even specific people. And avoiding them becomes a full-time job. Over time, the world becomes smaller and smaller, and that's where OCD becomes truly limiting. Ever pulled away from something and didn't know why? Let's talk about the next one. 9. Mental rituals that are just as exhausting. Not all compulsions are visible. Some are purely mental, like repeating phrases silently or constantly trying to reassure yourself you're not a bad person. Because they're internal, people rarely recognize these as OCD. But the toll is the same: mentally draining, time-consuming, and incredibly distracting. It's like having a browser with 50 tabs open in your mind, all running on a loop. And no matter how many you close, more keep popping up. Mental rituals can feel just as real and urgent as physical ones, only no one sees them, which makes it harder to get help. We're almost there. Sign number 9 done. Let's finish strong. 10. Fear of OCD itself. Funny, right? But very real. Many people with OCD are terrified of their own OCD, of the symptoms showing up, of the thoughts coming back, of the guilt and anxiety returning. So they live in fear of fear itself. And that can be one of the most limiting parts of the disorder. It becomes a loop. Fear of having thoughts, anxiety about the fear more thoughts. This anticipatory anxiety makes it hard to relax, hard to sleep, hard to live freely. Final words: you're not alone. If you've made it this far, thank you. You're amazing. Maybe some of these signs hit home. Maybe you just realized, wait, this might be OCD? Don't worry, you're not alone. Just remember, this article isn't a substitute for professional help. I'm not an expert, just someone sharing and hoping to help you understand yourself better. If these signs resonate and are interfering with your life, please consider talking to a psychologist or psychiatrist. You deserve peace, clarity, and support. Thanks for hanging out with me today. See you in the next conversation.